Toni. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Toni, I'm doing great, and I'm so glad that you could talk to us because today I know our listeners want to hear all about special events. So I know as co-founder and principal of the Brown Wynn agency, you have a
Mhm.
lot to share.
I
Let's
hope
hear
so.
from you.
I hope so. Thanks for having me over.
Great. Well, you just get loose with your information. What do people need to know to be successful?
I wish I could tell you that I had a game plan and a business plan and all the stuff in place to become an event producer. I really had none of that. My career fell in place in the craziest way under the craziest circumstances. And that's actually how I got involved with events. But I can tell you that I started my career at the United Negro College Fund, which is probably one of the best places that I ever could have been. I worked with senior fundraisers there, and I just absorbed everything that was going on around me, fundraising principles, event planning, um, fundraising conferences, all of the stuff. I was involved in an administrative capacity, but because I was in the room, I had the opportunity to listen and learn. And I soaked up everything and paid attention to what was going on. And basically, I also read everything that was put on my desk. So my boss, Saad&Shaw, at that time was the director of marketing. And then my boss after him was Jim Alston, who was a senior vice president. And everything that came across their desk, I would read it, just so that I could understand what was going on, absorb it. Didn't know if I was ever going to get a chance to use it, but in my day-to-day, eventually, I started to be able to offer suggestions, make recommendations, and also pull my boss's coattail when I thought, that's not such a great idea that's being presented. Maybe you should ask these questions. And then eventually they were like, well, why don't you look at the paperwork? Why don't you approve um, the special events paperwork, or either put a red tag on it if I need to look at it and approve it. And so eventually I kind of became part of the process in my office. And that's really how I got started at that level.
Well, I love it. I think that's the secret for all of us, really, not to fight where we are, but to absorb everything, because we don't know what the road ahead is like.
Absolutely.
But let me ask you, so now, as a co-founder and principal of the Brown Wynn agency, how do you work with businesses and nonprofits in event production? What's the guidance that you offer to your clients?
It depends on, you're getting a client who's new to special events. Maybe they're a new nonprofit, or a nonprofit that hasn't been doing events and they want to start doing events. Sometimes we have clients who have been doing events, but their event is kind of stale. They've been doing it for years and it really hasn't, the needle's not moving, the money's not coming in the way they want. We may come in and introduce some new ideas to help them boost the event, to put, a little spin on it and make it a bit more interesting. That's helpful too. There's so much going on. You can take an event and infuse new ideas in it and actually, refresh your event. And I always say to colleagues, and even when I teach special event classes, I often say to them, there's no new event. It's the event that you bring it out, shine it up, throw some sparkle on it, and you've got a refreshed or new event. So there's lots of great things that are going on. If you look at one of them and say, maybe we could do this, but instead of doing this way, we do it that way. We get this person involved. We take this option, and you can have basically a brand new special event to add to your arsenal.
Well, let me ask you another question. A lot of times organizations and even businesses, they'll take on everything for the event themselves. So I have a couple questions because when that sometimes we'll be talking with a client and they're like, oh, we got to get back to you like the next 3 weeks. We're just dead in the water. We got to be focused on this event. And so we always have a question like, is that the best way to use all your resources? And so I just wondered, how do you help organizations determine when and how they could work with an event planner and whether it would be beneficial, what kinds of things they need to do to make the relationship work? Could you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Oddly enough, several of the jobs that my company has gotten is because we were recommended by someone else who said, your event is not really going well. This organization doesn't look like they're successful at putting this together. We know Toni and Tina over at the Brown Wynn agency, you should give them a call. And we will go in and meet with them and they'll tell us the problems. And one of the key issues that always comes up, the organization is counting on the staff to pull off a special event. They have full-time jobs and assignments that they're supposed to be doing, not necessarily putting an event together. An event takes focus, a plan has to be put in place, that plan has to be executed all the way up to the day of the event. And your staff can be really stressed out by being forced or put upon to make the special event go well. We had one particular client, again, someone who had worked with us, recommended us. We went in to see them, and the horror stories that the staff was telling us.
Oh, no.
Because when people have horror stories, they want to tell them. So pretty much, we were waiting in the room for the principals to come in, the other people, and they would, let me tell you, I almost got fired because we put the wrong picture of a CEO up on the screen. We did X, Y. I was the announcer. I'm really the, foundations assistants in the office, but they made me the announcer for the event. And then I didn't have my script together. And so I lost the pay. And also we've been in a situation with the same client when we went to see them. And some of the staff didn't believe that we could help them, or that even there were some people who didn't want to let go of their role to let an organization like the Brown Wynn come in and make it better or fix it. And so we had people who were happy to see us and we had people who weren't happy to see us. And so basically we just, talk to people, explain to them why we were there, what we proposed to do. And they started to soften up a bit. And we, explain, we're not trying to push you out. We want your ideas, we want your input. Of course, we want your help the day of, but let us take the burden off of the staff of trying to put this event together. And they've been a client, I think, for 8 years now.
Oh, that's great.
Right. And so when we show up, now they're like, where's Toni and Tina? Come in here. We got stuff we want to tell you. This is what we. So, if you come in with a good attitude and present that you can help the situation and you're not interested in pushing them out, that goes a long way.
Well, I appreciate it, Toni. I hope that some of the things you've said is both helpful to people who are thinking about, maybe I could, get into a career in special events management. And importantly, that it helps just peel back the layers, that even though an event might seem like fabulous, there's all kinds of stuff that goes on underneath. And having that extra set of hands really makes a difference.
Yeah.
Any closing words that you have? Anything you want to share?
I would say that if you're interested in working in this field, I noticed that event planners were really planners by nature. If I look back to when I was in high school, I organized the church trips, organized the get-togethers and whatever else we did in our church. And here I am now organizing. I would also suggest you read everything you can, get involved. volunteer. Volunteer is a fabulous way to learn what event planning is about. And you'll know by doing events with other organizations if you're really cut out for this and it's really something that you care to do as a profession.
Well, look, I'm so glad that your path has taken you to this place where you're teaching, where you're producing events and sharing your wisdom. So we're going to put your website underneath this video. And I just want to thank you for taking the time. And in the meantime, I guess we say have a fundraising good time.
You too. Thanks so much, Pearl. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Until next time.